up. It is a very special month about, well, something that we need to know about, aphasia. We'll find out about that. And also, wow, my dog is fat? No way. Well, sometimes they are. So I have an expert who will help us figure out how to get our dog slimmed down again. And then finally, kids cooking healthy for themselves. I have Sammy on, and Sammy's going to cook some good, healthy food for us. So all that coming up. So about that month I was telling you about, it is National Aphasia Awareness Month. What? What's aphasia? All right, so Kelly Smith of Mountain Valley Regional Rehabilitation Hospital with us. You know what that is, don't you?
Yes, just a bit.
Tell us, what is aphasia, Kelly?
So aphasia is a communication disorder that happens when you have damage to usually the left side of the brain where the language center is. So it impacts your ability to speak, understand, impacts your ability to read and write.
So is this caused by a stroke?
That's the most common cause, is a stroke. It can also happen if you have a traumatic brain injury, brain tumor, or any other progressive neurological disorder.
Ooh, okay, so not just, because I have seen it in stroke, people I've known who had strokes, and it's so odd because it seems like they're all there, but it's still having, you know, they still have difficulty. So signs or symptoms, what do we see with aphasia?
So some of the symptoms we see, if they have difficulty communicating, it's they can't find the right word, they can't formulate a sentence that makes sense, or they're inserting words that aren't the right word. And then sometimes with their comprehension, they can't understand if you're talking really fast or if there's lots of background noise, they won't be able to understand you.
Now, is dementia part of an aphasia problem sometimes too?
Not necessarily.
Not really, even though we see some of those same things.
You can have some of those symptoms with dementia.
Okay, wow. So how common is this aphasia?
There's about 180,000 new cases each year. I think they say about 1 million aphasia cases right now in the United States. So it's pretty common, but it is treatable. So that's a good thing.
Is that older people or not so much? It can hit anybody,
yeah,
I guess.
It just depends. Yeah.
Ah, so how do you find out if you actually have aphasia and not something, you know, like we said, dementia or something
Absolutely.
else?
So usually you have to get evaluated by a speech-language pathologist to get the diagnosis of aphasia. If you've had a stroke and you've seen your physician or seen a speech-language pathologist, then you probably know you have it.
Okay.
But usually it's best to get in for an evaluation and then start treatment right away.
Now, you are a speech-language pathologist. Is there a cure for aphasia?
Not necessarily a cure per se, but there's treatment. So there's lots of options out there to work towards helping them build their communication skills, help them being able to understand again, read and write again. And then it's a lot of education, teaching their family how to communicate best with them and how they can kind of rebuild their vocabulary for their home life and work life and school, etc.
You know, and that is a big part of it, because it's very hard for the person who has aphasia, for their family and their friends, because they get really frustrated. At least in my experience, I mean, if you know what you're trying to convey and nobody understands you.
Yeah.
So what do you do as a family member, as a loved one?
We usually recommend, really just be patient, give the person time to speak. Don't jump in and try to finish their sentence for them. Let them try. Sometimes we'll say use yes or no questions instead of open-ended questions, just to help simplify things a little bit. Simplifying your language and your sentence structure is helpful as well.
Can they usually understand you, but if you're speaking slowly and using more simple language?
It depends on the severity of the stroke, but yes, I mean, you want to try to simplify as much as you can without making them seem inferior or childlike. You really just want to
because it really hurts their self-esteem, because they're still there.
Yes.
I mean, they still understand that they're trying to communicate and you're not understanding it, and they're feeling, desperate.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know my stepfather would just he would try, and then if he couldn't get it, he would just go, he would just be so discouraged, oh, never mind, so that kind of a thing. Now, at Mountain Valley Regional Rehabilitation Hospital, this is something that you guys treat over there as aphasia.
Yes. Yeah.
What kinds of things do they do? You have machinery,
so it's just a lot of repetition, a lot of drills, and there's lots of different treatment approaches that we're trained in to help work on aphasia. And then we do it in both our inpatient and outpatient departments, as working on aphasia and rebuilding communication skills.
So just exercise, practice and exercises, because they have to try and rebuild. Are they rebuilding some of those brain connections and things?
So when you have a bleed in the brain, it just kind of kills off that area of the brain. So you have to just let these skills rebuild by giving it opportunities to practice and specific ways to help build those communication skills.
And I think, a long time ago, we didn't think brains could regenerate, but they do a bit,
Yes.
depending, don't they?
We've seen incredible progress with patients, starting from not being able to say anything to be able to finally communicate full sentences and thoughts and understand again. It's incredible.
That is phenomenal. Just the hope that they can come back from some of this,
Yeah.
A lot, because I know it's it's devastating.
Yeah.
So how do they get it? They call over, they come to, because you can diagnose them? Okay.
So we usually recommend you get a script from your physician to come into Mountain Valley for outpatient services.
Okay.
If you haven't had treatment in a long time, or you're having these new symptoms, or if you're straight out of the hospital, you might want to come for outpatient. Some of the patients we get come from the hospital into the inpatient side of things, and they're getting treated as well and then transition to outpatient. So it's just kind of that tier through therapy of.
And
helping
again,
them
there's
improve.
probably no set time. It can be from days, weeks to a long time,
Yeah.
depending.
Yeah, depending on the severity. Yeah.
Wow.
But it's June Aphasia Awareness Month, so we just want to educate people and help people understand what aphasia is. So.
Well, sure, because I suppose if you didn't know, you would be like really devastated, like what in the world just happened to me or to this person that I'm with, and so, wow. Well, that's good news. That's actually great news. Mountain Valley Regional Rehabilitation Hospital, they're in Prescott Valley, available to help out.
Yeah.
Kelly Smith, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
We are now aware of aphasia.
Yeah.